What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. Joining me here today to talk about the Georgia State Panthers 2024 team preview is Jay McMinn from the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. Jay, how you doing, my friend? And how is Georgia State going to perform in 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess continuing on with the Georgia theme of things, now we're talking about Georgia State. Head coach Dale McGee is over there, and the Sun Belt is so even right now. And good wins are going to be a dogfight, Logan. And I think this team is going to have to go to war in a lot of their games. They beat Utah State last year in the Idaho Potato Bowl, which was good. Which is great. And then they came off losing 5 games out of 9 to end the season before they went into that bowl game. So they were definitely on the down skid before they hit the Idaho Bowl. And I think hopefully coming off that bowl win into this season will get them on the right path and not go back to where they ended the season. That is the hope and the prayer, I think, of Georgia State Panthers. 4th straight winning seasons, which is great. It looks good on head coach Dale McGee. They got 5 straight road games in the middle of the season, Logan. So this is going to be they really got to come off this season quick, and they got to win a lot before they hit that middle of the season. Because once they get to the middle, Logan, they're going to be on the road all the time. And it's hard to win on the road when you're out the road that long. So They got a lot to make up for. They lost the top receiver in Robert Lewis to Auburn. They also lost their top running back, Marcus Carroll, to Missouri. Top O-lineman, Montavious Cunningham.
Yep.
Yeah, to Virginia Tech. And they lost their top corner in Bryce Brown. To Boston College. And their star quarterback, Darian Granger, to graduation. So they lost a lot, Logan. Like a lot of the top playmakers on this team either got transferred or graduated. So now it's almost like they're starting at the bottom. And can those guys that had backup roles now be elevated to starter roles and actually be able to compete at the starter level? That's going to be huge to find. I mean, this offense is going to have to find diamonds in the rough with so much that they lost, man. Transfer Zach Gibson has to prove himself. He's a full-time starter now through 16 touchdowns over 3 years at Akron. And he can throw, but he's not much of a runner, Logan. So this offensive line is going to have to protect him because he's not that kind of guy that can just scramble like a Patrick Mahomes and get out of the way. You know, this guy is going to most likely go down if he gets hard pressure. Transfer running back C.J. Beasley from Coastal Carolina should do well in this offense. Wide receivers Talik Williams was a strong number 2, and he's asked to be wide receiver 1. Kadarius Thompson and Jacase Credo, I said they don't name right, round out the top 3 targets for this team. So they got a lot of role players, Logan, from last year now asked to be major factors, not even major factors, but major playmakers. And it's going to be interesting to see if those role players now can step up and take the reins of this team. The defense, when you look at the other side of the ball, they need to be more consistent, and they need to get more productive stops on third down. They gave up a lot of third downs last year. Very little pass rush even from these guys. The secondary, Gavin Pringle is a decent veteran. Cornerbacks transfer from Georgia Tech. Kenyatta Watson is a promising vet on the other side. And Jermaine Johnson is a baller of a safety. So this defense does have depth. So that might be where the hidden gems lie, because we don't know quite what you got in the offense, but we do know what we got in the defense, and they're going to have to step up big time in order for Georgia State to be competitive. They got to generate a pass rush. The edge rusher, Kevin Swint, is okay. Justin Abraham has to lead this group and may lead this team in tackles from the outside linebacker spot. So they got to get a lot of production from this linebacker spot as well as those edge rushers, because there wasn't a whole lot of pass rush. Not a ton of mass on the inside. So they're going to have to look at transfers to help this crew out on the edges and at the running or at the linebacker spot. Key to this season, keep the running game moving, man. They're going to have to run this ball often. Can Beasley hold up to that? They lost a lot of production from Freddie Brock. He put up, 2,000, or the team put up 2,445 yards, and Brock put up 2,000 of those yards. So that's a lot of production to be losing, and expect expect Beasley to come in and take over where he left off. That's asking a lot. So he's going to definitely be that's definitely going to be the key. The key player is going to be offensive tackle Kyrie Mason Jr. He has to be better on the tackles for loss and preventing those tackles for losses. He gave up a lot of those last season, so he's going to be huge. And the key game is Georgia Southern, September 28th, baby. Like I said, it's a rivalry game, and both of those teams need to get a hot start. Who's going to get it? Nobody knows. But if I had to put my money on it, I think Georgia State has a little bit more of an edge.
This team is very intriguing, Jay, because they've kind of been in scramble mode all of the year, all of 2024. And I say that because former head coach Sean Elliott, who was there for 7 years, as you said, 41-44 overall record, but 4-1 in bowl games. Overall, not too bad of a tenure. Was there for quite some time. But he resigned as head coach, Jay, one day after Valentine's Day. Not much love shown to the Georgia State Panthers. He went back to South Carolina, where he'll be the tight ends coach out there. So they brought in Del McGee, who, God bless him, it's been a wild couple of months for the young man, right? It's been a hectic few months, and he's kind of had to scramble to get his coaching staff together. There really is not a whole lot of recruiting that he's been able to do. I mean, it's just been a rough go at it so far before the season even kicks off. So I think that is a very important factor to play when we look back at this season for Georgia State. When you look at this unit, when you look at some of the good players on this side of the ball, and offense, we'll start there. You mentioned they got C.J. Beasley, who I like at Coastal Carolina, good player. Right around 1,000 yards, just a little bit before it. He also got around 345 receiving yards, not too shabby. Zach Gibson coming out of Georgia Tech. Didn't play any last year, played in 3 starts in 22. So we'll see if it takes him a little bit of time to get adjusted back to a starting role now with the Panthers. I think, like I said, when you look at defense, you circle Gavin Pringle, right? All Sun Belt last year, good player overall at the cornerback spot. Redshirt senior, 4 picks last year, and also got a couple of pass breakups to boot. But that's what is that, Jay? It's a bright light in a dark tunnel.
Yeah.
Because they were the worst in the Sun Belt last year in terms of passing defense, rather. They gave up 279.5 yards per game and 30 touchdowns. That's tough. It also don't help you losing John Trey Hunter, who had led the team last year. He had 96 tackles last year up there in the front. Justin Abraham, as you said, had led the team in tackles, as well as 8 tackles. And 8 tackles for loss. And you got Josiah Robinson trying to help out as well, 41 tackles, 2.5 sacks. And they gave up 145 yards per game in terms of the rushing attack. 5th in the Sun Belt. So I think it's going to be some struggles for this team, Jay, come year one with head coach Del McGee. And I don't think it's not a knock on him. It's just they were really dealt a really kind of a rough hand from former coach Elliott coming into this season. We'll see how Kevin Sherr can do, the brand new defensive coach. I said the Panthers last year couldn't get much going for their defensively. Offense, I think, will be better than the defense. We know that that's what McGee kind of goes with, right? He played Auburn back in the 90s. We know that he can help out on the offense. But as you said, it hurts that you've lost 2 of your kind of star players in Carroll and Lewis, who have both we've probably seen in the league one day. They went on to different teams. And as well as Montavious Cunningham and Darren Granger. So a lot of turnover in terms of, on the sidelines and on the field. So when I look at Georgia State, it's going to take a second. It's going to take a season or 2, or who knows. for them to really get things going, because as we said in our Georgia Southern preview, and we'll reiterate here, the Sun Belt Conference got tougher. There's a lot of solid teams. And when you look at this team, they come out the gates just, man, really? You're not going to give me you're not going to give me a cream puff team. You got Georgia Tech, who's been a staple, in the ACC for many, many years now. Some other tough teams they're going to face: Vanderbilt, SEC school. That's going to be a rough one. Got App State. They got the Dukes and James Madison, Coastal Carolina as well into the year. So it's going to be a tough one, man. And as you said, they really, outside of the bowl win, which was kind of a nice way to cap off the year, they did struggle late last season. Lost a handful of games there at the end when it could have been, honestly, a pretty solid and successful season. If some of those games could have went the other way. That's just not the case. But I think Georgia State, it's going to be tough this year. It's going to be a rough one this year. But just see through, look for the bright spots, and who knows, better things could be coming. I just don't see it this year. I think it's going to be a learning year for Del McGee and the crew, but I think there are going to be some good takeaways. They got some good players over there at Georgia State, but I don't think this is the year we're going to see them shine as a unit. Well, Jay, I appreciate you, my friend, coming on talking about these Georgia State Panthers. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, until next time, we will talk to you again on another